Every team, every topic, everywhere. This is Believe.
All right, welcome back, everybody, to another edition of Believe in Eagles podcast here on the Believe Network. I'm your host, Mike Gill. Eagles and the Niners getting ready for the NFC Championship game this weekend. We've got a couple things that we just want to kind of add to the mix as we get ready for the weekend for you here on Believe. Just a couple of things, some research we've kind of compiled and put together to get ready for the game. Hopefully you're enjoying all of the material. If you missed our conversation with Philadelphia radio personality Jamie Lynch, that was our previous Believe in Eagles. And then NFL tight end Colin Thompson was on earlier in the week. Go back and check out both those conversations. They're both kind of timeless conversations, both on this particular game. I want to look a little deeper at this game, some things as we got closer to the game that we're taking a look at here on Believe in Eagles. And, you know, the Eagles are in the NFC Championship game for their eighth time. This is the eighth time that the Eagles have been in the NFC Championship game. They have been to the Super Bowl 4 times. They will look to try to win the Super Bowl for the second time in their history. And, of course, for the first time since Super Bowl 52 in Minnesota when they beat the New England Patriots. The Eagles started the season 8-0. They were the last unbeaten team in the NFL this year. No team that was unbeaten for that long has won the Super Bowl since the Colts back in 06. So let's take a look at some of the numbers and try to see what they mean. It's the second matchup between these two teams. You know, the last time they played in 1996, the Eagles lost that game. It's the only time they've ever been shut out in a playoff game, losing that game 14-0. These two teams met in week 2 of 2021. That was Nick Sirianni's second game as a head coach. It was his home opener for his career. The 49ers won that game 17-11. Jimmy Garoppolo was the quarterback. Jalen Hurts was 12 for 23 for 190 yards in the game. But a big stat in that game that can possibly be looked at in this one, he ran 10 times for 82 yards and a touchdown. If his passing improves and he's 10 for 82 with a touchdown, that could possibly mean an Eagles win. It's also the game where Jalen Hurts, who threw for only 190 yards in the game, threw for 91 of them on one play. That was to Quez Watkins. Hurts and Purdy, these two quarterbacks, they will be a combined 47 years old. It's the youngest starting quarterback matchup in conference championship round history. But obviously, Hurts has more starting experience than Purdy does. If Purdy wins the game, he will be the first rookie to ever win the championship round game. And he will also have the fewest amount of starts among all quarterbacks to make the Super Bowl, other than Jeff Hostetler, who had 4 career starts entering the playoffs. Brock Purdy has 5. Jalen Hurts and Purdy, you've heard the story this week. They met in college in that game. Hurts got the better of Purdy on the scoreboard. He had 3 touchdown passes, but Purdy had 5 touchdown passes. He also ran for a touchdown in that game. What does it mean? Probably not much. The Niners and Eagles are first and second in total defense this year. The last time the two top defenses met in the championship round, Steelers beat the Ravens. The number 1 defense beat the number 2 defense. So right now, the Niners give up 300 yards a game. The Eagles give up 301 yards per game. Very even there. All right. Niners, this team, 18th conference championship appearance. It's most all time. And Brock Purdy could be the 5th starting quarterback to win a conference championship for the Niners. You know, they've had an illustrious career, but a lot of those guys, Montana and Young, Garoppolo, Kaepernick, this would be the 5th guy, Brock Purdy. The Niners, though, 2-5 on the road in conference championship games. They last won in 2012, but they have won 4 straight road games this season after starting the year at 1-3. So this team has played better on the road as of late. 7 championship wins. They've gone to the Super Bowl 7 Super Bowl appearances in franchise history. They would join the Patriots, Broncos, Steelers, and Cowboys, reaching the Super Bowl for their 8th time if they win this game. 36 playoff wins all time for San Francisco. It's one shy of matching the Patriots for most in NFL history. They could be the first team since 2016 Patriots to make the Super Bowl after using 3 different quarterbacks. Holy moly, they went with Lance. You forgot that. They had Garoppolo and now Purdy. They have a 12-game win streak. It's tied for the second longest streak in franchise history, and it's the 5th longest team that has entered the championship round. The other teams, the Patriots, they won 17 in a row. They lost the Super Bowl. The Steelers in '04 won 15 straight games. They lost the conference championship. The 72 Dolphins, of course, went undefeated and they won the Super Bowl. The '03 Patriots won 13 in a row. They won the Super Bowl. And here are the Niners. They're 15-0 when they win the turnover battle. So that's a number to definitely keep an eye on. 12 straight games with 1 or fewer turnovers for the Niners. It's the longest streak in franchise history. They take care of the ball. 10 straight games with a positive turnover margin. It's the 3rd longest streak since the turnover stat has been recorded. They're very good at taking care of the ball. So if you're hoping to get an interception or a fumble, it's been rare this year, but it's going to be key. You got Kyle Shanahan, 6-2, looking to become the 9th head coach to win 7 of his first 9 playoff games. His dad did it. Brock Purdy, as we mentioned, looks to be the first quarterback to ever be a rookie in the Super Bowl. Remember, Mark Sanchez tried, he lost. Joe Flacco tried, he lost. Ben Roethlisberger tried, he lost. And Sean King back in 99 lost to Kurt Warner. Purdy is 7-0 as a starter. He's only one of 2 rookies to win each of his first 7 starts. Ben Roethlisberger was 14-0 out of the gates as a rookie. He has 546 passing yards and 3 touchdowns in the playoffs. He only needs 27 yards in this game and 2 touchdowns to break Russell Wilson and Mark Sanchez's records. So Purdy's going to probably break at least one record in this game. Here's the big thing for Purdy. No interceptions on 59 passes in the postseason. It's the most postseason passes without an interception by a rookie by a large margin. Purdy, 59. Norm Van Brocklin, 14. Purdy's done something that no rookie has done. He's taking care of the ball. So what do his weapons look like? McCaffrey, 8 straight games with a touchdown. Bosa, 0 sacks, 4 pressures. These are the keys for the Niners. On offense, McCaffrey, those touchdowns. Bosa on defense, the sacks, 4 pressures. He led the NFL with 18.5 sacks. Those are going to be 2 X factors on the Niners side of things. They're second in rush yards per game allowed this year. They're first in scoring defense. They only give up 16 points a game, and they're first in scoring defense. So, in yards per game. As we told you before, they only give up 300 yards a game. They could be, when this game kicks off, I record this on Friday, they're a betting underdog right now for only the second time this year. They were a dog to Kansas City. They lost by 21. That's the only other time they've been an underdog the entire season. Now the Eagles, 8th conference championship, 4th Super Bowl appearance if they make it. They're the first team since the 11 Patriots to win the divisional playoff game by 30 or more points. The next week, teams are 6-7 in the conference championship when they win the divisional game by 30 or more points. The whole myth of, man, you look really good one week. What does that mean the next week? Well, you're under 500 the next week in the playoffs. They have 3 players, of course, A.J. Brown, Devonta Smith, Miles Sanders, who all went over 1,000 yards up against that number 1 defense in the league. They've won, 4 of their last 5 playoff games against the number 1 scoring defense. So the Eagles have been in this spot before against the best defense in football. Jalen Hurts, here's a big number for you. Hurts is 20-3 when the Eagles are favored in his career. They've won 87% of the time. It's the second best record of any quarterback in the Super Bowl era when his team is favored, as they are in this one here. They are 20-3 when the Birds are favored in Jalen Hurts starts. Pretty unbelievable. 760 rushing yards in the regular season. It's the 3rd most by any conference championship QB. Look, Hurts has faced 2 top 10 defenses in this regular season. The Titans and the Steelers, they averaged 332 pass yards per game, 7 touchdowns, and no interceptions. Hurts has carved up really good defenses this year. A.J. Brown is an X factor. He had 22 yards in that divisional round game. It's the second fewest of his season with Philadelphia. I would expect a much bigger game there. Here's another number: 35 rushing touchdowns. It's the most by a team since 2006, and no team has had more in a season since the 95 Cowboys had 36 back in 1995. Old Emmitt Smith, you remember him? 75 sacks this season for the Birds, most by a team since the 85 Bears. They were pretty good. They haven't had multiple takeaways in 7 straight games. It's a streak of 1 or fewer takeaways since 2018. Look, the Eagles led the NFL with 23 takeaways through the first 12 weeks of the year. They got to get back to that. But we told you earlier, the Niners don't turn it over. The Eagles haven't been forcing them. They got to get them in this game. All right. What else do we have for you here as we take a look at the Eagles and the 49ers? Well, the Niners, we told you, this is a team that has won 12 straight games. How have they done it? Well, they're going to have to stop Jalen Hurts. He's a dual threat, 760 yards, rushing, 13 touchdowns. But strength versus strength in this game. The Eagles have leaned on the ground game. They have the ninth best rush percentage in the NFL, 44%. On Sunday, they're going to go against the Niners rush defense, which is very good as well. They're top 7 in yards per game, rushing touchdowns, first downs per rush this season. So this is a good Niners defense against the run. But the Eagles have fared well in those situations. They have really had good games, even against teams that don't allow big rushers. The Niners have gone 27 straight games without giving up as much as a 70-yard rusher. So in these situations, the Eagles have still been pretty good. They had a big game in the air. When that happens, they say, all right, you're going to take away our run? We'll go to the air. Hurts in the Eagles offense, when they don't get things going on the ground, they are third in QBR, and they lead the league in pass touchdowns on over 20 or more yards down the field. This Niners defense is ranked near the bottom in those two categories. Hurts is third in QBR, 20 or more yards, first in touchdown passes. The Niners, conversely, are 27th in pass defense against in QBR and 25th in the league in giving up touchdown passes of over 20 or more yards. So that is where the Eagles think they can get something done here. Let's take a look at the Niners, who have relied heavily on pre-snap motion. That's how they use Brock Purdy, trying to confuse the defense. They use it on 73% of his dropbacks. He's done a really good job in finding the open man, but that's going to be tested against the Eagles pass defense, who have allowed a league lowest QBR on opposing quarterbacks who use pre-snap motion. The Eagles are really good in this spot. They are first in the league against teams that use a lot of motion. They also, of course, get the opportunity to get to the quarterback a lot. More on that coming up. All right. Believe in Eagles here. Don't forget, get it out there. Like, rate, review, subscribe, leave comments, push us out there. Get your Eagles friends involved. Let's make this a fun Eagles community. Hopefully, we have another game left to go. We got Eagles and Niners this Sunday at 3 o'clock. And of course, we will have reaction right after the game is over here on Believe in Eagles. So make sure you check back here on all your podcasting platforms. And you can watch us on the Believe YouTube channel. Okay, a couple X factors in the game. What are a couple things that we're thinking about in this game? Well, the trades. The Eagles got A.J. Brown. The Niners got Christian McCaffrey. Both offenses have transformed into much better offenses because of these guys. Duh. Christian McCaffrey, Eagles, A.J. Brown. The Eagles had one of the worst pass offenses in the league the last couple of years. Jalen Hurts' rookie season, they averaged 6.2 yards an attempt, worst in the league. Last year, they were ranked 23rd, 6.8 yards an attempt. This year, they're first, 8.1 yards per attempt. No secret that A.J. Brown has had a huge impact. He's a vertical threat that they did not have. He had 7 touchdowns of 20 or more yards this season. It's the most by an Eagle receiver since they started tracking this stat. This is the biggest of big play receivers the Eagles have ever had in over a decade. And when it goes to Jalen Hurts, he led the NFL with 12 touchdown passes of 20 or more air yards. 6 of them, as I just said, went to A.J. Brown. The Eagles think they can beat the Niners through the air and do it deep. Now, on the other side, Christian McCaffrey. When the Niners traded for him, they were 3-3. Well, here they are in the NFC Championship game now. They averaged 20 points a game before McCaffrey. They're 12-1 since. They average 9 more points a game, 29 points per game with McCaffrey. The yardage has gone up, 340 before McCaffrey, 384 after McCaffrey. He has the most yards by a midseason acquisition in NFL history, and he's also scored in 8 straight games, as we talked about earlier. The only player better has been T.O. back in 98. Adding McCaffrey gave them the Kittle, Samuel, McCaffrey trio, kind of like the NBA. You have to have that third star, and they have it. They are the best yak yarders after the catch as a trio in the league. When all three are on the field together, they average 6.1 yards a play. Pretty darn good. Who do you stop? Well, the Eagles think they have the answer with Hassan Reddick, Javon Hargrave, and their secondary. I think Hargrave and Reddick are two big keys to try to slow that yards per catch after the catch down. All right, the Eagles are going to face this Niner rush defense. Not only did the Niners allow the second fewest rush yards per game, 77, and the second fewest yards per rush, just 3.4. I told you earlier, no player has rushed for even 70 yards against this team in 27 straight games. The last person to do it was in week 13 last season. Travis Homer had a 73-yard touchdown run on a fake punt. So the defense really wasn't even on the field when that happened. So think about it. The Eagles ran for over 2,500 yards, and they scored more rushing touchdowns than any other team in football. The Eagles did face 2 teams that finished in the top 10 in rushing defense this season. The number 1 team, Titans, and Jalen Hurts said, I'll throw it against you, as we said before. We'll go downfield. Against the Titans, Hurts threw for 380 yards and 3 touchdowns. Against the Steelers, who were 9th against the run, Hurts threw for 285 yards and had a career-high 4 touchdowns in the game. If you watch Believe in Eagles earlier in the week, I said I think the Eagles can blow the 49ers out, and I think they can do it by taking shots down the field and winning down the field. That's the recipe for wins for me for the Philadelphia Eagle. Take shots down the field. Convert. The Eagles are one of the most aggressive teams in the league on 4th down. They went for it 29% of the time, 4th highest in the NFL. They converted 69% of the time. If the Eagles can sustain drives and take shots down the field, they should do the job of keeping the Niner offense off the field, making the Niners play catch up, and making them do something they don't want to do. Have to rely on Brock Purdy. That, to me, is the X factor in the game. Can the Eagles make Brock Purdy beat them? I don't see it happening, friends, and I don't know that it's all that close. I think the Eagles take shots down the field early. I think they get a turnover, a sack early in the game, set the tone and the momentum. They've been greasing the poles in Philadelphia since Friday in preparation for this, and I don't think they're going to be disappointed. I think Philadelphia wins the game. I was going to say somewhere like 34-10, 34-17, somewhere in that range. I think it's a 2 to 3 score game for the Eagles, who just have too many weapons on the outside for this 49er secondary, and that's the difference in the game for me. All right, we'll be back on Believe in the Eagles right after the game's over with a quick reaction, and then back on Monday of next week to kind of recap it all, and hopefully we're getting ready to break down, which I think will be an Eagle-Bengal Super Bowl. I like the Bengals to beat the Chiefs as well. Hopefully you will join me back here on Believe in the Eagles. Thanks, everybody. I'm Mike Gill. This has been Believe in the Eagles.
Every team, every topic, everywhere. This is Believe.